welcome back to the channel. So if this video looks a little different, it's actually because it's filmed on the Sony a7 III. I actually rented it for this weekend. Shout out ProCam in Livonia, and specifically shout out Joe Orlando, who's the store manager of ProCam in Livonia, because he always hooks it up. He let me rent the Sony a7 III and the 24-70 f2.8 G Master, and I'm not gonna lie, so far I am really blown away. It's nice to know that I'm filming this right now and I'm in focus and I don't have to worry about it at all. But I basically rented this because I've been thinking about switching to mirrorless for a really long time, and I had a photo gig the other night. Actually, it was the 2019 Christmas tree lighting for Detroit and Campus Martius, and I was actually on the ground shooting ground coverage for like 6 hours in extremely low light in a really high frantic, high fast-paced situation, kind of like shooting a wedding. And it was really, really nice. I had dual bodies. I had my D750 and the a7 III right next to each other. Shout out to the Downtown Detroit Partnership for having me out again this year. I will give you guys my thoughts on this camera in a different video. I just kind of wanted to let you know if it looks different. Let me know what you think. If you guys notice a difference, if you like it better, let me know in the comments. I would love to know. So I did film a vlog this week, but because of the Christmas tree lighting and I had a couple other shoots this week, I didn't really have enough time to sit down and edit. Hopefully I can get that out for you guys next week. And for today, we're actually going to do a Q&A video. I asked you guys on Instagram a while back for some questions, and I promised that I was going to do that video, and here it is now. I thought it would be kind of cool to give you guys a background on myself on YouTube, because I kind of just started vlogging without any background of who I am or anything like that. So I asked you guys for questions on Instagram, and I definitely got a ton, so I'm probably not going to be able to get through all of them. I'm going to try my best to just do kind of rapid fire and give short answers and just get through as many as possible. But if I don't answer your question, you can feel free to just leave a comment down below, and I definitely will get back to you. I don't have that many people on here, so hopefully there won't be too many, and I'll be able to get back to all of you guys. So if you have any questions for me at all, life, photography, business, travel, anything, just leave it down below. I really want to start making this channel more of a community, and that starts with interacting with you guys. So let me know if you have any questions down below. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I highly suggest doing it, because that's where I'm the most active on social media. I pretty much post stories almost every single day. I post photos almost every day, at least during the week. All right, so the first question is, what is your goal in starting the YouTube channel? And that is actually a great question, and I wanted to make a video solely about this, but like I said, I'm gonna try to keep it short and simple. So the first question is, what is your goal in starting the YouTube channel? And honestly, I wanted to make a video about that because the number one reason that I started this YouTube channel is to learn video, to try to force myself to learn video. I've been saying it for years that I want to learn how to do it, and thought this would be the best way, and to try to document my process to be able to see. The second reason that I started this channel was because I have no video memories of any of the amazing adventures that I've been on in the past couple of years. I started doing GoPro footage like a couple years ago, but not very much, and I have had some of the most fulfilling and the most amazing life experiences in the past few years, and I just wish that I would have started documenting it before. So that's part of it, is to just kind of have a video journal for memories for myself. And the third reason is to hopefully help and to inspire some of you guys. I get a lot of questions, and I get a lot of people saying that they wanted to see behind the scenes of how I take my photos. I don't want to become a famous YouTuber. I don't really care. I mean, if somebody wants to sponsor my videos or something like that, that would be great, but I don't plan on becoming a famous YouTuber or anything like that. This is just kind of for me to force myself to learn video. But at the end of the day, I want video to be completely for fun for me. I don't want it to turn into a job, and basically just document memories for myself to look back on later. Alright, so the next question is, best way to start getting into photography, taking classes, buying fancy equipment, how did you start? That's actually another good question. So I actually did not start photography with the intention to make money or to do it as a business at all. I was just taking photos on my lunch break at work downtown because I had a really stressful job, and I would just walk around and take photos of graffiti or the city and just whatever I liked, and would share it on Instagram. And that's originally what sparked things. And then one time I was on a rooftop with a friend of mine, and he was getting this amazing photos at night, and he had a DSLR camera, and I was not able to get the same thing on my phone, and I couldn't figure out why. So literally the next day I went out and bought a DSLR, and I started taking photos with that, and it was just game over from there. I was completely obsessed. I started going into abandoned buildings and more rooftops downtown and just exploring the city in a way that I have never seen before. And honestly, I was just so obsessed with it that I did not stop. And and you don't need a fancy camera. Pretty much everything that I did for the first couple of years of my career was done on a $300 camera. So it doesn't matter what camera you're using or any fancy equipment. I would just say use your phone or get like a really cheap starter camera. And then as you need a camera because it won't take night photos or it won't do something, then maybe you can buy a camera. And that actually brings me to the next question. I think I got like 6 or 7 questions all asking what's a good camera for beginners, and I would again say if you can't afford a camera that's more than like $400, I would honestly say use your cell phone. This is going to be about the same effect, and what's most important in the beginning is just getting out there and practicing shooting. But there are a couple good camera options. Any of the Canon Rebel T series are great. I think they also have a new one, the SL2, and it's like $500 I believe, and it has interchangeable lenses. Or if it's your first camera, I would almost recommend buying mirrorless from the get now, because that's going to be the future. So something like a Sony a6000 could be really good. So I'll link both of those cameras in the description. They're just camera bodies. You're going to need an interchangeable lens to put on there, but just start with the kit lens if you can't afford more than that, and build up from there when you need it. And you can just use your iPhone, because that's what I started on. All right, next question. What is one city you would love to capture that's on your life bucket list? Definitely Calabria, Italy, and that's a really random spot to a lot of people, but that's the town that my grandparents and my mom's family is from. It's just a small town on the coast of Italy, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I went when I was 8 years old, but I haven't been back since, so a big, huge goal of mine in the next couple of years is to be able to travel there and take my mom back to visit her hometown. All right, next question is, are you originally from Detroit? And if not, what brought you to Detroit? So I didn't grow up in the Detroit city limits. I didn't actually end up moving down to the city until like 4 years ago. I got my first photography studio, which I ended up kind of living out of, and then I ended up moving down here to West Village with Andrews. So obviously I was originally brought to Detroit because of my job, and I lived very close, so I started coming to the city. And once I started exploring and coming down here more, there was a no-brainer that I pretty much just had to live here. All right, so the next question is actually from a fellow YouTuber, Willow Faith. So shout out to you, Willow. Do you like Vancouver? I've actually never been to Vancouver. I've only been to Canada a few times, to Windsor, Toronto, and a few places for hockey tournaments when I was younger, but I would love to visit Vancouver, and if I do, I will definitely hit you up. All right, next question. How did you put yourself out there for businesses to recognize you as a potential client for their company? And again, this kind of goes back to, I didn't really start photography with the point to make money, so I was just posting what I liked and doing what I loved and posting it all the time consistently. The people that wanted photos noticed and they reached out to me. So I guess what I could say is post things that you want to get hired to do. So if you want to take photos of cars, make sure you take photos of cars. If you want to take photos of sports, make sure you're posting photos of sports. If you want to take photos of landscapes, post photos of landscapes. And post it consistently and show behind the scenes of you doing it, and talk about you doing it, and talk about you doing photography as a business. The more that you talk about it and the more that you post and get the word out, that's how people are going to know. It's the only way they're going to know. And I always tell everybody to start off with your friends and everybody you know. The first wedding that I ever shot was one of my best friends. The first few clients that I had were all friends of mine, and then they told their friends, and then I shared the work that I did for them, and it's just kind of a snowball effect. So you just really have to find those first few clients, and if you can do really good at those, it just kind of snowballs from there. I am planning to do kind of a whole video and more in depth about how I get clients and how I make money, so stay tuned for that. All right, next question is, so Kayla, this girl actually has asked me a few questions. She sent me a few emails. So Kayla, I am going to email you after this video is done. Where do I start with registering a business? So I actually didn't register. I am not an LLC. So disclaimer, this is by no means business advice. I don't want to give business advice because it's different for everybody and you should make those decisions on your own. But I just do it under my individual as a sole proprietor, and it's called DBA, doing business as, and that's how I file my taxes. So I don't actually have an LLC, but I do have a tax ID, a business tax ID that I registered with the IRS, and that is what I give to employers when they ask me for my tax information, and that is my business tax number. So that is, I guess, really the only way that I'd register. So I don't really know exactly, I don't have the best advice in terms of registering, but if you want to do an LLC, I know it's pretty easy. It's a couple $100, and I'm pretty sure that you can do it online. So I would just search YouTube, and if you want, you can message me directly, and I'll try to help you out the best that I can. All right, next question is, who are your biggest inspirations? And I would have to say right now, probably Evan Ranft, Ill Concept, and Andrew Kearns. If you guys don't follow them already, I'm gonna put their names on the screens here. They're all three amazing, amazing photographers that have inspired me heavily throughout my photography career. Next question is, what is the biggest struggle being self-employed? I would probably say time management. Find enough time in the day to get everything done and still have a work-life balance is really hard. So that would probably be my biggest struggle. Next question is, who does your prints? That is probably my second most asked question besides what camera do I use. And honestly, a lot of my prints I get done at Costco. If they're smaller or cheaper prints, I almost always get them done at Costco because it's cheaper there. I like the luster prints there. It's very fast turnaround. The people at my local Costco know me by name and they're amazing people. So I honestly have never had one issue at Costco. So I use them for the cheaper stuff. But for wedding prints and stuff like that, I will send to an online gallery, either Nations Photo Lab, Bay Photo Lab. I have a couple that I use for different products, but I would definitely suggest using Costco. That is a great option. As a younger photographer, would you suggest upgrading to Adobe CC Lightroom, or is there any other free alternatives? Unfortunately, I can't really suggest anything besides Lightroom because that's what I use, and the reason that I use that and it's necessary for me is because I'm always editing big, huge collections of photos, and that's the easiest way to organize them for me personally. I know that there's a free editing app on your phone called Snapseed. I hate that Lightroom turned into a subscription service. It really did piss me off when they did that, but honestly, what can you do? It's a great tool, and I highly, highly recommend it if you can afford it, and if you can't, Snapseed is always a great option. Next question is, was it scary going from a 9-to-5 job to your dream job? For those of you that don't know, I actually quit my job in 2017 to pursue photography full-time, and it definitely was extremely, extremely scary. But I think that is part of the reason why I was able to succeed at it, is because I was so terrified of failure that I knew that it was not an option, and I just worked really, really hard and did everything in my power to not fail. And let me just say that it was one of the scariest things that I've ever done. I'm the type of person that has to have everything planned to a T, and I really didn't have a plan. I just kind of jumped off the porch because I knew that if I didn't do it then, that I was never going to do it. And I basically just told myself that I would rather fail than not even try at all and wonder what could have been. Next question. Booked my first wedding as a photographer, kind of terrified. Any advice? First advice is don't be terrified. Second piece of advice would be to just maybe watch a video on how to photograph a wedding, or at least just read some information on what to expect at a wedding. That way you can anticipate certain moments, like you know traditionally what happens at weddings, so you're not surprised. I would also make sure that you bring a backup camera and have extra SD cards just in case. And the most important thing is to just not overthink it. Next question. Best way to make connections in Michigan for photography to get jobs? And honestly, my advice there is to just be active in the scene and make sure people know what you do and what you're good at. If you think of all the people that you know, I bet you that at least 2, 3, 4 of them out of 10 probably could use photography for their business or their work or whatever they're doing. So tap into your personal network first. And like I said, I'm gonna make another video on more on that in the future. Next question is, I'm new to selling prints, any advice? And I would just say, think about what people want on their walls and use those. Make a website, and then also look into getting into like craft fairs and DIY fairs and like farmers markets and stuff like that in your local area. Those are a great way to get started as well. Next question, and it's probably going to be the final question, is how do you calculate your price for photo jobs? I am always afraid that my price is too high or too low. And this is another good question and something that I really struggled with in the beginning. And I would say that depending on what your skill level is do some research. Think about the types of jobs that you're being asked for and look for other photographers in your area and try to see what they're charging. And based on your skill level, you can either charge more or charge less based on what you feel appropriate. All right, next question, and I'm probably gonna end it on this one just because I don't even know how long I have been recording. So I'm sorry if this ended up being super long, but the next question is the best way to make connections in Michigan for photography to get jobs when you don't have a strong portfolio. And I guess for that, if you don't have a strong portfolio, build one. Take the photos that you want to be paid for, even if you're not being paid for them. So for example, if you want to be paid by Columbia to take photos of their outdoor clothing, buy some Columbia clothing, go out with your friends and take some camping gear, go out into the woods and do a styled shoot and think about the type of shots that you think that they would want. take those photos, send them to them and say, hey guys, here's some photos that I took. I would love to do some work with you guys in the future. If they say no, no worries. Move on to the next one and you can reach out to other outdoor brands. And if not, you at least have that in your portfolio for next time. So like I said, that's gonna be it for this one. I just wanted to get some questions out of the way, and I've been posting consistently every week for like 3 weeks. I think this will be the 4th week in a row. So I didn't want to miss my upload, so I hope you guys don't mind this Q&A. If I didn't answer your question and you still have one, make sure you leave it down below and I'll do my best to make sure that I answer all of them. And hopefully we'll be back next week with a regular vlog, and I'll definitely give you my thoughts on the Sony. And let me know your thoughts. If you guys liked it, if you noticed a difference, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody that watches these videos. I've been getting a lot more comments recently and I really do appreciate that. Shows me that you guys are watching and I love hearing from you guys. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.